Hey guys, it's Bethany with the Gypsy Bird Makes podcast, and welcome to episode 17. Happy St. Patrick's Day, since today is technically St. Patrick's Day when I'm filming. Hope you all had a fun, lucky day. It is our youngest dog's birthday, turned 3 today. My daughter's Corgi, which inspired the Corgi sweater, of course. So yeah, we have some fun things to talk about today. I have finished objects to show you, and some works in progress that I'm excited to share with you as well. That's the ice dropping. I am using a new microphone today, so if the sound is a little bit off or different, that is why. Still trying to figure things out with it, but we're going to give it a go and see if it works better than the clip-on mic. So let's go ahead and head into some finished objects. Finished objects. Let's start off with the elephant in the room, which is my something cozy. I got the yarn and made this completely since the last podcast. So it is a super fast knit. The dog is barking because the windows are open because it's such a beautiful day. But anyways, that's a rabbit hole. But this is the Something Cozy by, I just said this, Shayna Bello. This pattern was so much fun to make and so easy. I've got lots of notes to tell you about it. So I saw this pattern knit by my friend Natalie of Nitty Natty, and when she first knitted, I was like, that's not really something for me. I'm not going to really want that. It looks super cute on her. And I'm just going to keep on making whatever I was making. And then she did the whole year in review and said that that was her favorite make of the year. And then I was like, oh, I really like that too. It's really cute. So I decided I was going to make it. And my friend Stephanie also decided that she was going to make it. And we used the same yarn. And we finished within a day of each other, which was really fun. So this, I'm going to put in a little video for you here of me modeling this. This isn't a garment that I think I would typically go for because of how cropped it is. I don't do the cropped thing really. So what I did was add some length to it because it's supposed to be a couple inches shorter, but I'm really happy with how the length came out. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself because I changed a whole bunch about the pattern, but let's go and talk about the yarn and all that jazz first. So this yarn is a special colorway that was dyed by Bryan of the Little Wolf Knits. This is called Love and Speckles. And this is what the yarn looks like caked up. I got a DK, and then I also have it in her mohair. And then this is Brianna's tag. Fits. You can see here. So I had 2 of the mohair and 3 of the DK, and this is what I have left from the sweater. I was really worried that I wasn't going to have enough at all because I was kind of skirting on the edge of how much yardage I was supposed to have for the pattern, and I wanted to add length to it, but I actually ended up with quite a lot, which I'm really pleased with. I wish I would have made it possibly a little longer, but I really kind of like the length. I think it's good. I think it would have been good an inch longer, but I'm okay with where it is now. So I used what the pattern called for, which was a US 10.5, which is a 6mm needle, which is ginormous. That's why one reason why it knit up so incredibly fast. Let me see, what else did I have to say? So I changed a lot about this pattern. Like a lot. This pattern is meant to be made in pieces and then seamed together, and I did not want to seam anything. So me and both Stephanie, we both did this. We both found our size, which, did I write down what size? I think I made a size 2. No, size 1. I think I made the smallest size. If that's different, I'll put it down on the screen. But I didn't want it huge, like the boxy. I don't want it to look like I'm drowning in it. I just kind of want it a little oversized. So that's what I did with this pattern, is I looked at the finished measurements and how much ease that was going to give me, and I went with the smallest size. And I think it turned out really well. The fit is good. I mean, I have plenty of ease on this, so much. So instead of doing it in pieces, we did it in the round. Cast on and just knit, knit, knit. I think I knit 16 inches from where I split for the top part. So once we just knit in the round and round and round for like 2 days. And then I did what the pattern was saying to do for each piece if you were seaming it together. So for the front, I took those instructions and knit up and did it that way. And for the back, I did the same. I did add a little bit extra length in the top part as well, just to kind of give it some overall length overall, and also to give me a little more room in the arms, because I knew since I was going with such a small size, my arms needed a little bit more length. So I did do that. Let me see. I also did the rolled hem on the top and also on the bottom. I know Stephanie did I think she did 2x2 ribbing. She had an extra skein of yarn, so she knew that she was going to be fine with yarn, and I was worried that doing the 2x2 ribbing would eat up all my yarn. So I didn't end up doing that, and I really like how the rolled hem looks. I'm normally not someone who likes that, but for this pattern, I think it really is cute. So I went ahead and did the rolled neckline version as well, and also on the sleeves. So it was super simple since I didn't have any ribbing at all to do on it. What else was I going to say? When up on the shoulder where I seamed my front piece and my back piece together, I did a 3-needle bind off instead of the instructions that are in the pattern. That just made more sense to me, and that's kind of what I went with. Super easy, and I think that it looks really good. You can hardly even tell. So, and then I did also do the sleeves a little bit longer. I think in the pattern it says to do it for 5 inches, but I ended up doing 7 inches, and I did not do nearly as many decreases as the pattern called for. So all of my notes from making this are in my Ravelry page, which will be linked down below as always. So if you are interested in making this and you want to kind of make it the same way that me and Stephanie did, then please go check that out. And then if you have any questions, you of course can send me a message or leave a comment or any of that. But yeah, I really like this. I wasn't sure if I was going to be thrilled with it, and today is actually the first time I've tried it on like properly, and I'm really excited about it. I'm happy with how it turned out. The mohair, of course, I decided to try it on the hottest day that we have had this year in Washington State. So it's a little hot, but it'll be okay, I think. But it's a really pretty make, and I also have a dress that I'm planning to wear this over on the top of that, and just have it like flowy on the bottom, and I think that'll be really cute too. So in all, this took me 6 days to make. That's it. It's crazy. 6 days, a finished garment, and it's so cute. So what I wanted to say about something. I was going to say something, and now I can't remember what it was. What was I going to say? Remember. Every time. It happens every time. Am I right? Yeah. I'm going to tell you how many grams it took for me. So with all of my adapting and adding length and all that kind of stuff, the DK, because you're holding the DK and the mohair together for this pattern, for the DK I used 276 grams, and the mohair I ended up using 75 grams. And then yards was 762 yards for the DK and 688 for the mohair. I don't really understand how you use less of one than the other when you're holding it together. Shouldn't it be the same amount of yards? Anyways, that's what I calculated, and my math could be wrong, but that is that. And I am so thrilled with this work in progress. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. I was only working on this for those 6 days. It was like I couldn't wait to knit on it. It was so much fun, and I craved just knitting it, and I was really kind of sad when it was over so quickly. But yeah, it's cute, right? I like it. So before I finished this item, I had 2 other items that I finished. I can't remember. Oh, I did have this one on the last podcast. I had just started it, I think, and it is the honey cowl that I was making for my husband. This is a pattern by Antonia Shakeland, and I finished it, and I love this. So the yarn is by, I should have a yarn tag somewhere. I might not have brought it down. It's by, let me just tell you, NanoStitch Laboratories, and this is a sport weight yarn in the color charcoal, and this yarn is alpaca, 100% alpaca, so it is so yummy. But I did finish it. I made it exactly to pattern. I didn't change anything, which is really amazing because I seem to be the type to change a lot of things, don't I? So my husband is excited to have this. Get my hair out of the way. But yeah, this is just so scrumptious. Cute. I really like how it turned out. If I could get my hair out of the way, that would be nice. So it's just a double loop cowl. It is a really, really simple slip stitch pattern. It's great to work on while you're watching TV. It's very rhythmic and just perfect TV knitting. So this item was knit on a US 8. If I were to make it again, which I think I will be making it again for myself, I might go down to a US 7 for that, just because it's a little loose and a bit in the gauge, just a tiny bit, but you can either wear it or don't. I told him, he was the one who was wanting a scarf, and I found this pattern, and I was like, oh, I love that, because I didn't just want to do like a stockinette or a garter or anything. So I kind of decided for him that he was going to have a cowl, and was like, you're going to like it. But I mean, he could still wear it as just a scarf like this, or, you know, wrap it all nice and big. I think this is going to be so cozy and keep him so nice and warm whenever it's cold again. But yeah, I love it so much that I want to make myself one. I don't quite have enough yarn, I don't think, but I might still try to work one out of the yarn that I have and just have it be a little smaller. But here is some of the beautiful stitching you can see, and it does have the little bit of ribbing on the bottom. But yeah, that was the first finished object that I had since the last podcast, and he was very happy to have it made. Let me see, were there any notes? I did make the largest size of this. There's 2 different sizes in the pattern, and I made the bigger size. And I did the simple stretchy bind off, which is my favorite bind off. I'll have it linked down below for you guys. I love that bind off. That one and the tubular bind offs are my absolute favorites. And the yardage that I used 146 yards and 142 grams. So I'm definitely glad that I got that huge skein of yarn to make this with. So that was that one. And then I have one other finished object also for the husband, and this is a make that, yeah, I started and finished also since the last podcast. So the husband has been requesting a lot of things. He's being very needy in his wants of things. So he wanted some mittens. I have made him fingerless gloves before, but he wanted mittens that covered his whole finger. He didn't want the ones that are like actual gloves that have fingers. So I went through, I picked out some patterns. I let him choose from those patterns which one he wanted, and then I picked yarn and let him pick from a variety of options to decide what to get, and he decided on the pattern that is called, I'm not exactly sure how you say it, Haley, maybe? I'm not sure. It's going to be on all the information over here. I'm also not going to try to say the designer's name because I will butcher it, but I think it might be a Danish pattern, but it was in English and so easy to follow. So I made this using a US 1 2.25 millimeter, and this is how they turned out. I've never made mittens quite like this before. When I was sitting there and I was doing that, Mom was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing color work again so soon after the corky sweater. But they turned out really well, I think. Wait, yeah, this is the right hand. So they're super huge. Like my thumb is like right here. They're super huge on me, and they're even a little big on him. But I think that they will work out really well. I like how they turned out. I think they're really pretty. I kind of want to make myself some mittens now. Not the same pattern, but a different pattern possibly. But it's starting to get warm, so I don't really have that desire to make that right now. But here's the other one. Yeah, I made this part just a little bit longer, and you may notice that the thumbs don't match because I ran out of the brown. So this yarn may look familiar because you have seen it recently. This is the Woolberry Fiber Co yarn that I got back in December. This was part of her Christmas collection or holiday collection that she had. And the dark color, the darker brown, is cinnamon, and then the lighter color was called tinsel. And I used every single bit of this cinnamon color. I have none left, and I used, how much did I use? I used 19 grams of this tinsel. So I have about 20 grams left of it, but that's wild. I love that I have used that in 2 projects, one my cowl and now these mittens for him. And I did do a few things different. Like I said, I did add a little bit of length to the ribbing. I just thought with his hands being so big, a little bit more ribbing down at the bottom was going to lengthen it a little bit and make it a little bit better. And that's also why I ran out of the darker color, the cinnamon. And it said to, when you got to the very tip of it, I'm not sure which one it is, but when you get to this very tip right here, it had you just pulling your yarn through like 16 stitches. And I was like, I don't like that. That makes me a little nervous to do that. So I Kitchenered those. And I like how it turned out. I did do the correct thing on, or what the pattern said to do on the thumb. You can kind of see maybe the little circle there. So I did do it correctly on the thumb, but I just thought it might hold and be a little more sturdy if I did the Kitchener at the top. So that's what I did. Did I have anything else? It was 5 rounds that I added to the ribbing, in case you were interested. It took me like 4 days of knitting on these to get them finished, and I was really happy to make him something. I was waiting on the yarn for this to start, so I went ahead and knocked these out for him. I just thought of something I was going to say. Oh, yes. When he was trying them on pre-blocked, they fit perfectly, and then I blocked them, and now they're a little big. So I don't want to put them in the dryer or anything like that. Is there any suggestions that you guys might have to like shrink it just a little bit? Like not a lot, just a tiny bit. I don't know. I think they'll be fine either way. And he can still wear them. Not a big deal. I offered to rip it out and make them a little smaller, and he was like, no, it's okay. And I was like, okay, good, because I really did not want to do that. But overall, I think he's happy with them. So those are, I'm just calling them the mitts for Bryan because that's way easier than its real name. I have a few works in progress to share with you. Yeah, so let's get on and just jump right into those. The first one is I am making some socks for my dad. He loves my socks that I've made him in the past, and he needs some yarn to repair a pair that I've made him previously, so I figured I would just make him a pair and send him some scrap yarn to fix that all together, so it's kind of like a little surprise too. So this yarn that I am using is from my friend Anne, who gifted to me a few podcasts ago, and it is from Dragonfly Fibers, and the color is Spooky. So I cast these on 2 nights ago, I think, and this is what I have so far. So I casted these on as soon as I finished this because I just had nothing else on my needles, and I needed something to knit, so I had already wound up some yarn, getting ready, and this is what I have so far. So I've just finished the heel flap, and I'm going to work on the gusset decreases next. This is going to be kind of my in-between, on the go. If I need something vanilla to work on, I will have this. There's really not a whole lot to say about these socks. They're 72 stitches. I did a 2x2 ribbing, and they're just vanilla. I did decrease 2 stitches when I got, no, 4 stitches when I got to the leg. And then I did 50 rounds on the leg total, and I'm doing a heel flap, a slip stitch heel flap and gusset. So yeah, I am just going to keep chugging along. These should be done in the next week or so, and I'll get them mailed out to him. What was I going to say? I am using a US 1 2.25 millimeter needle chow glue on magic loop, which is my favorite way to make socks. So this is the yarn caked up, in case you wanted to see that. And then this is a Yarn Cozy Lite by Knitty Natty. I'll have the pattern linked down below. I love them so much. They were also with my Love and Speckles yarn. And I also have this skeined up. This is some other yarn that Anne sent me. Yes, this is by Lorna's Laces, which I don't think she is in business any longer, but I do have her linked down below in case you want to go and see some of the stores that may still have her yarn. This one is called, I guess it's Spats, 1512 Spats is what it looks like here at the bottom. And I have this caked up for my husband. I'm going to make him some more ribbed socks, so I just went ahead and caked this up when I was caking this one up, so I had it ready. So that is a future sock that you might see in the next podcast. Then the next whip that I have, I actually just started last night, and it is because I got the yarn came in yesterday. Oh, I'm losing all my labels are going everywhere. Oh, let me tell you real fast. This is in a bag by Mountain State Stitches. I love Jenny's bags. And you can kind of see her. Which way is it going? Here we go. This is her label. Jenny makes amazing bags. I love them so much. This one's bursting with stuff because it's got both of those skeins. But she'll be linked down below as well. And then this next project is in my Cottontail Farms bag. You've seen this one multiple times, but this is going to be the Montrealer for Kai. And you might be thinking, haven't you already made a Montrealer for Kai? Well, yes, I have. And that was claimed by my youngest, Grayson. So Kai didn't like the yarn, the wool of the Andes. I've talked about him not liking the scratchy yarn, so he tried it on and he was like, ooh, itchy, I'm not going to wear it that much. And I was like, okay, Grayson, you try it on and see if you like it. He was like, yeah, it's not bad. He's just like, he doesn't care. Kai has the pickiness, and Grayson's just like, I'll take it. So Grayson now has that one, and now I have gotten the yarn for Kai's. So here we go again. I'm doing the exact same size, exact same everything, except the yarn is different. Well, actually, exact same everything is not true. I'll talk about that in a second. So this pattern is by Designs by Dells. It is the Montrealer, and I am doing the adult version, not the child version. I'm making a size 3 with a little bit of alterations since it is for a child or a preteen. So I ordered some new yarn, and it just came in yesterday from Knit Picks. This time I got Swish worsted, which I don't know why I went with wool of the Andes in the first place. I should have known it was going to be too itchy, because I just should have known. But now I know. So I went ahead and ordered the same amount, which I'm hoping. I don't remember if I checked the yardage to see if the yardage is the same for these skeins. So knowing me, I may run out of yarn, but we'll see. So this is the main color that I chose, which when I started knitting with it last night, I realized I think I used this exact same color for another cardigan for Kai back in 2020 or 2021. think it was 2021. Yeah, it's like, I think it's the exact same color. But this is Marine Heather, and it is the main color. I'm going to be using, I bought 9 balls of this one, and then since it does have the stripes, the main stripe is going to be Wonderland Heather, which is this really fun kind of aqua blue. And then the one weird stripe that is off and different than all the others is this one. Sorry, it's a little messed up. It's Amethyst Heather. So I just have 1 of these, 2 of these, and 9 of these. And I started last night, and I've actually already gone through 1 ball of yarn. And this, let me see, this is the front. So this is what I have. So, I mean, you guys have been watching for the last couple podcasts, you'll have seen this already, basically in a different yarn. But this is the Montrealer. I have the provisional cast on that you can see here. And I use that purple yarn. I am almost done with the raglan increases, one part of the raglan increases. They start down here at the little ducky, which I can't remember who the little ducky is from, but I got it local here in Auburn. But I love my little ducky. Isn't he cute? Show your face, ducky. Okay, ducky is shy today. And then I'm using my Fox and Pine stitch stoppers, my little Oreos, which I love. And yeah, just chugging along with this. I want to get through the raglan increases and split for the sleeves, because then it's just mindless. But I think before I start the mindless knitting, I think I'm going to do the hood, because I really did not enjoy doing the hood on the previous one that I made. So I think I want to go ahead and do that and get it over with, so I don't have to worry about it or dread doing it at the end. And I do plan to do less rows on the hood and make it about 1.5 inches, 2 inches shorter than the previous one, since that hood is like huge. But yeah, that's basically what I did. I did all of that last night while watching TV. So yeah, I was happy with that. I think if I have time tonight to knit, I will probably work on this more. But I do have one more project to show you that hasn't quite been started yet, but is well on its way to being a work in progress. So I've been talking about it for probably a year, of wanting to make this pattern, and I finally got the push from a couple of friends who are also going to be making this. So we are all making the All of the Lights cardigan by Hohu Licatelli. I'll put a picture in here for you. It is stunning, such a beautiful pattern, and I'm kind of excited and a little bit scared, honestly, to make this pattern. But I got the yarn for it. We have a group that we're kind of in, and we're all chatting about it and making it. Some of us are just watching, some of us have already started, and some are still waiting on yarn, so we're in all different stages. And I also have a couple of other ladies in the Love and Stitches membership who have made this previously, so I'm so excited to have them to ask questions about. Like if I have any questions about the pattern or anything like that, I'm gonna like message them. Shout out to Elizabeth. She is going to be my rock. So yeah, I want to tell you about the pattern, tell you about the yarn, and all that stuff. So I got I was actually had decided I wasn't going to make it because I hadn't heard anything else about like the group making it. So I was like, you know what, I'll just go on and do something different. I was thinking about the Eves cardigan, or the new Radvent that I want to make. And then my friend messaged me and was like, hey, I just ordered my yarn, are you going to be doing it? And I was like, I don't know. And then I kept thinking about it, and by the end of the day, I think the next day I had ordered the yarn. So I was trying to decide between different yarns. I didn't want it to be too dark because I want the cables to stand out, and I didn't want it to be light, and I went through a lot of trying to decide what to do. But I was looking at Dragon Horde Yarn's website and some of hers, and there was this really pretty purple that I was thinking about doing. but the amount of yarn I was going to need was going to be like $250, which was a lot of money, and I just wasn't sure that I wanted to spend that on it. So I was thinking, I even looked at Knit Picks at some of their DK weight, and I just didn't like anything from them. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave it for the day and just think about it a little bit before I ordered, because it was over the weekend. And then I was like, I'll look on Miss Bab's website. They have good DK, and they have some big skeins, and things like that. So I went looking on there, and I found one that I really liked. So that is what I purchased. I got some DK weight from Miss Babs, and it is, let me find the tag for you. So this is Miss Babs. I got the Yowza, which is a huge skein. It is 225 grams and 560 yards per skein. So it's a massive skein of yarn for a pretty dang good price, I think. So I ordered 3 skeins of that. Should give me plenty of yarn for what the size I'm planning to make, which is the medium large, as long as I can get gauge. So let me show you the yarn. Just hit the microphone, I'm sorry. Gotta get used to a whole new thing. So this is the yarn that I got. It is called Apple Season, and I have this skein, and then these 2 skeins also are massive. I went ahead and just caked them all up when I had my winder out. I was watching a podcast, and I was done before I even realized, which was really nice. I was a little bit disappointed when I got these skeins, because the picture had a lot more pink in it, and this has a lot more white, and I was kind of bummed about that. But then I made a swatch, and I actually really liked the swatch and the color that came out, and I'll show you that again in a minute. But that was one reason I was hesitant to order from Miss Babs, because I've ordered from her before, and the skein, I ordered it and it was like a pink and a purple, and it came blue, and I was like, this isn't at all it didn't look anything like the picture. And I contacted them about it, and they were like, oh yeah, that happens sometimes because it's hand dyed, and you can email us and ask us what the current dye lot looks like. And I was like, well, I don't know, that just kind of irritated me a little bit, because you have a picture that you're advertising of what it's supposed to look like, and I completely understand that it's hand dyed and not every skin is going to look like that, but for it to be so different than what it was supposed to be, because I was going to be making a little girl something, and the blue was just not the right color. So that was kind of, I had that in the back of my mind when I was ordering this. So I was a little worried about it coming and not being the color that I really wanted it to be. So when I opened it, I was a little bit bummed. But again, I am happier with it now. I think, it may work out for the cables and for the lace and such, for it to be a little bit of a lighter and not so much pink. But let me show you, I did do a swatch. I haven't gauged my swatch to see if I'm on or not yet, but this is the swatch that I did. Let me see. I want to see if that's any better. Change the color a little bit. Yeah, that might be better. So this is more of a representation of what the color looks like. And then I did one of the cable patterns, which is upside down, I think. I don't know. Anyways, this is one of the cable patterns, and then I did the 2 of the cable patterns, and a little bit of just stockinette at the bottom. I haven't, again, checked to see if I got gauge. I'm hoping I did, but if not, I can swatch again. This didn't take me very long to do, and it was nice to kind of read through some of the pattern and actually work some of the graphs. And thank you, Hoodie. Thank you so much for having the graphs written out, because I hate the graphs. Like, I just am not that type of, like, my brain doesn't work that way. And I always have to go through and write out the lace pattern in like words, not just so where I'm glancing at it. So I was so grateful to find that she had it written out as well as graphed. That was the best. But it was really nice to go through and work it and realize that I could do it, and that I did understand what it was saying, because when I got that pattern, it was overwhelming. it looked so complicated. I was so freaked out that I wasn't going to be able to do it at all. Excuse me. I'm talking so much, my throat's hurting. But yeah, it was intimidating. It's an intimidating pattern. It's a beautiful pattern, but it's very intimidating. So doing the swatch really gave me a little push to say, hey, you can do that. You can do this. You got it. So I'm going to be officially casting this on probably this weekend. I might want to get the hood on the Montrealer done first. And this is going to be a long-term project. This is not going to go by quickly, so you guys are probably going to be seeing this for a few episodes. But I'm really excited to finally be making it, to finally take in the plunge and order the yarn, which ended up being like $100 cheaper for the pattern, which I can deal with the yarn not being perfectly the color I thought it was going to be for $100 cheaper. So this is definitely a project that I'm not going to be working on when I am tired or sleepy, because I don't want to have to frog it, and I don't want to have to go back and do a whole, I just don't want to have to think back. So I know I will at some point probably, but I'm really excited to make this with some friends, and it's going to be fun to see everyone's different colors. I've already seen a few people's colors, and it's going to be really exciting. So keep an eye out for this. It's going to be coming sometime. I mean, I think, when would I like to have this done? I'd like to have this done. We are due to move mid-May, so I'd like to have this done by the time we move. I think that's plenty of time, and I'll be done with it by then, because I don't like when projects take a really long time. So long-term, mid-May, short-term, I don't know. Maybe that should be a short-term. What do you think? I don't know. But those are my works in progress, and I am housing this in my other Cottontail Farm bag, which I love. So that's in there, and that's all the works in progress I have right now. Acquisitions. So I kind of feel like I've bought a whole bunch since the last time I spoke with you, but you've really already seen almost all of it. So I did order the Love and Speckles yarn, which is a special colorway from the Little Wolf Knits for the Love and Stitches membership. So this isn't available for purchase anymore, and it was only for those of us who are members. But I ordered this in the end of January, and it just came, I think it was this, I don't know, like a week and a half ago. So we knew it was going to be shipping towards the end of February, early March. So I got this yarn in, and it was knit up into this within a week, which I thought was pretty dang good. I got it, caked it up, and made it right away, which was perfect. And then I also ordered the Miss Babs yarn. So I ordered 3 big old gains of this Yowzer, which is their DK, one of their DK bases. That was what I was looking for. And I also ordered something else when I was ordering from Miss Babs. I ordered this, which is Miss Babs Putnam, and this is called Field Mouse. Oh, it's blowing you out. Let me see if I can fix this. Maybe that's better. Is that better? Maybe. So this is Field Mouse. We're just going to have all kinds of different sound and all kinds of things. So I ordered this. It's blowing it out a little bit, but this is going to be the main color of my next rad vent that I plan to make. And I'll talk about that, I think, in just a little bit. But I got this for that. So those came. And then I also ordered all the Knit Picks yarn for my son's Montrealer. So all of those were new yarns for this podcast, which is so much yarn. But literally I'm already used some of it, in the process of using most of the others. And then I have a plan for this, which will be cast on hopefully soon. So I think that's pretty good. And then I also got one other thing. When I was starting with Something Cozy, I didn't have a 10.5 needle. I only had a size 10. And I started it with a size 10. And I was just a little worried again about yardage and if it was going to affect it, because I was like half a stitch off. for the gauge. So we have a local yarn store right down the road, which is Rainy Day Yarns in Gig Harbor. And I was like, I can just run down there since they carry Jiaogu and see if they have the size that I need. And they did, which was so cool. I'm not used to having that. I'm used to having to order it off Amazon or something like that. So having the yarn store just to go and get it and use it that same day was perfect. I didn't have to wait. I ripped out what I had done with the size 10s and then used the 10.5s. And while I was there, I found this little clever little thing. So this is to make a center pull ball. And if you watch Nitty Natty, you'll have seen that she was using center pull balls for her, which blanket was it? I think it was her granny stripe blanket. And I saw this and was like, that would be a really, I kind of want to make those and I want to see. So for one, I wanted to kind of show her this. So I took a picture of it and I was like, I'm just gonna buy it and use it. So I did, and I haven't tried it yet, but next time I need to wind up a ball, I think I will try and use this. So I will look. Oh, it's Katrinkles, so I should be able to find a link. I will try to find the link for this and put it down below, but it is a Katrinkles and it's a waffle winder is what it says. It tells you what direction to wind. It has all the instructions, so that's really neat. And those are my works in progress. Those are my purchases, acquisitions for this podcast. I did also purchase some other yarn and it has shipped, but it hasn't arrived yet. So I will show you that on the next podcast. All right, so future makes. I have a lot that I am just starting right now, especially with the Montrealer and all of the lights. So I think that is probably going to take up most of my time over the next few weeks. And also the socks that I have from the Go Knitting. So I don't have a whole bunch of plans of what I would like to make. However, I am going to mention just a couple things. A long way of saying I don't have time, but I'm still going to talk about it. So what I am wanting to probably cast on after the Montrealer to kind of go alongside with the All of the Lights cardigan is another Radvent. And I'm going to be using my Moonglow Advent from this past Christmas. And I'm also going to be using this yarn that I got from Miss Babs as the main color. So I have this ready to go when I'm ready to do that. I'm really excited to make that. I think it's going to be really great. So that's the first thing that I am hoping to cast on soonish. And then I did just mention that I purchased some yarn, and I did. It's from Blush Yarns. She had an update, and I went and looked, and oh my gosh, her yarn is so pretty all the time. Natalie does such a great job with her yarn, and she had this one skein in particular that was just calling my name, and I loved it so much. So I ordered 2 skeins. She's like about 120 miles from me, so sorry, the dogs are running. So I'm hoping that it doesn't take too terribly long to get to me. It's already kind of coming across the border, so hopefully I'll have that soon. And my original idea was to make another boxy with it, but I've been wanting to do a boxy where I helically knit 2 yarns together, like 2 colors. I don't know why, but I've gotten it in my head that that's what I want to do. I really like how my summer, what are they? My shorts that I made from the Little Wolf Knits. What were they called? I can't remember, but I'll pop a picture up on the screen for you of what they are and what they're called, and have them linked down below also. But I helically knit 2 skeins of yarn to get that, and I love how they turned out. I used 2 skeins out of my stash together that normally I wouldn't have been able to make that pattern without buying more yarn if I had helically knit them. So it's a good way to like mesh 2 yarns together. So what I was thinking of possibly doing with a new boxy is helically knitting the 2 skeins from Blush Yarns with 2 other skeins that I have of Blush Yarns. So the one color would be throughout, but it would kind of fade into a different color for the other two, if that makes sense. I have a lot of one skeins from Natalie that are just beautiful, and I want to use them in something special. So I thought that might be a way to do that. But then I was also thinking that I would like to make some summer tees. Last fall, I made this summer quart tank with my sister Sabra. It's a dragonhorn yarn pattern, and it was fun to make, and I think I'll be able to get some use out of that this summer. So I'm hoping to maybe make some others, and I thought, that might be really pretty too. So the first pattern that is a possibility is the Viva Cami, and I'll have all of these linked down below for you guys. I've had that. I just favorited that not long ago, so that's a possibility. I also have the Sienna. It's like a tank top that's really pretty, and I've had that in my stash, or in my favorites, for quite a while. And then also the Top May is also another one that I'm considering. Those three are kind of, I saw those after I bought the yarns and was thinking, oh, those are really pretty. Maybe I could use it for that. So I don't know. We'll see what it's going to become, but those are possible. Either a boxy, which I know I'll love, or a tank. So we'll see. And then I've also been using my Advent wrap, get it out right, which is the shortest day shawl that I made for Advent this past year. I've been using it a lot while watching TV at night. If I'm just a little chilly, I just throw it over my shoulders. So I might be making another wrap shawl like that in the future that's that same size. I favorited a few. So if you go to my Ravelry and look on my favorites, it's in that first page, and you'll see a whole bunch of different options that I have kind of gone through quickly and looked and liked. So I just have to narrow it down. I also think that could either be a really great one for stash busting, or to use up quite a few skeins from my stash. So yeah, those are possible future makes. It's time for some questions. I have 3 or 4 questions that people had asked. So if you have any questions that you would like me to answer next month, let me know. You can either leave them down below in the comments, or you can send me a message, or look out for my Instagram, where I will post a box asking if you have any questions for the podcast. So this one question, I can't remember who it's from, but I will try to find it and put it on the screen for you. And we've had this question quite a few times during Vlogmas and things like that. Sorry, it's like falling down on me. But the question is, how do we get our mail, since we move around so much and are always in different places? So we'll have packages like from Amazon, or if I order yarn or something like that, mail directly to the campground that we are at. Sometimes they don't offer that, and we have had to get a P.O. box before, which you can get them for like 3 months. It's not too expensive. But mostly like for our like W-2s or insurance cards, things like that, we have it go to my parents' house in Virginia. That's kind of our home base location, and where we're based out of for everything, I guess. So it just goes to them, and then a couple, like once a month or once every couple months, they'll send us a batch of a whole bunch of mail. That's how we get that. So not really that exciting. I know some people, I think, use a service that will collect all the mail and then mail it to you. But luckily my parents are willing to get our mail and send it to us, so we don't have to worry about that. The next question is from Mertez, and she asked, any plans for the next adventure, new city? No, it's a little too early to know anything about our next assignment or anything like that. Technically, I think Bryan's only on his 3rd or 4th week here at this assignment, and they're 13 weeks, so we still have quite a ways to go, like 9-10 weeks. But we were just here for like a month before we started, so it feels like we've been here a lot longer. But no, nothing yet. It probably won't know anything till mid mid to late April would be my guess. There's a small possibility that we could extend here and stay longer, but then we also have to find out if we could stay at the campground and everything. There's a whole bunch into that. So no plans yet, but I'll try and let you know when we know. And then my friend Kelly asked, she says, how do you manage with all your animals in your moving vehicle? So that's a good question. When we had the tiny house, we would have two vehicles. Bryan would drive the truck and pull the house, and then I would be behind in the other vehicle that we had. And we would split the dogs up between those two vehicles, and the cats would stay in the house. Before, when we would move, like, and didn't have the tiny house or the fifth wheel, Bryan would have, it was insane because all the cats would have to come with me in the car, and then we only had two dogs at the time, so it was a lot more manageable for the dogs. But yeah, anyways, they would all be normally in the car with me, and we had one cat that would get car sick and would throw up, and then another, and it was a mess. It's much easier now. So in the fifth wheel, we only have one vehicle. So we just have the truck, and we're obviously pulling that, and there's 5 of us, so that is completely filled up with us. So the dogs actually stay in our bedroom in the fifth wheel, which is not recommended at all. I wouldn't recommend for you to do it. It's just kind of how it works for us right now and how we get by. So yeah, I don't know what to say. The cats stay in my daughter's bedroom and in our closet. We kind of keep them separated because some of them get a little testy with the other ones. But yeah, that's what they do right now. They seem to. I put my iPad in there before and kept it on in video to see what they did. And they lay down after we get on the road and pretty much calm down. We also give them some medication to help them, like some CBD treats that help them just calm down a little bit and not be so anxious. So that's what we do with them. And then KBZ Leomni? I'm gonna have it on the screen. She asked, where do I store all of my yarny things? So I have kind of 2 places that I store everything, but it's all right where I am sitting. I'll take a video, but all of my yarn is in this cubby in the living room that is above where I'm sitting right now. I have all my yarn there, all my scraps, all of the extra bags, extra notions, those type of things. And then normally there's a basket that's sitting right here, and it will hold all of my works in progress. It has my Radvent and like a sweatshirt and my Advent wrap. So when I get cold, it also has some socks in there. So if I get cold and I'm in here, I'll just grab out of that basket. And then the basket also holds all of my works in progress. So it's all right here. And then underneath, this opens right here. I don't know if you can see. But this opens and it's a little cubby, and it is where I keep my bag that I put all of my acquisitions in for the podcast. All of the yarn for giveaways is in there. Also, my Swift and winder stay in there, and then also all of the filming things. So right here and right above me is basically where I keep everything. So yeah, those are all the questions that we have. So thank you, ladies, for asking. Hopefully I answered and gave some good answers for you. But yeah, if you have any questions, again, go ahead and leave them down below, and I will answer them on the second podcast April. So life talk again. Not much going on. I think that we had a virus or something in the last week because I was so exhausted. I had no motivation to do anything. All I wanted to do was sit and watch TV and knit. So a lot of the time, that's what we did. We didn't go do anything exciting. We went and ate a few times, and that was about it. Yeah, it wasn't an exciting 2 weeks. It was just life. So not much to report there. I've been having a little bit of anxiety recently. I'm trying not to let that sink in or like ruin anything, so just trying to move past that. Bryan was called off of work a couple of nights because of low census, which means they didn't have any babies, which I think probably was a part of my anxiety because it was like his second week and they were calling him off a shift, and then his third week they called him off a shift. They could only do like one more time of doing that, and then I'm like, well, what if they cancel? Like, there are no jobs right now, and I don't know where we go. I don't know what we do. Um, so yeah, and not having those full paychecks when we just went like a whole month without a paycheck. So, like we're good, but it's just the worrying of, well, what if this happens and what if that happens? And I have to like stop myself because I'm a huge worrier. Um, so yeah, that's probably contributed some to the anxiety, and that all of us have not been sleeping well. We've like gotten our schedules all mixed up, and um, yeah, like it's just been wild. But I I was praying that God would give us some better sleep and some more motivation. So I feel like in the last couple days I've definitely had more motivation. I've slept better, and yeah, it's just been better all around. And today the temperature was 60 and it was sunny and it was beautiful outside. I have the windows open and the heat was turned off. I considered turning the air conditioning on today because it was getting high, but I didn't. I want to hold off on that as long as possible. But yeah, it was just a beautiful day. So that I think helped a lot. I think the next like week is supposed to be upper 50s, 60s, which is going to be beautiful, and there won't be any temperatures below zero, which is awesome. And I'm really happy about that. But yeah, so what else was I going to say? I already mentioned that I bought a lot of yarn. So there was a lot of yarn that I bought. I don't know. I hadn't bought yarn like that in such a long time, so it was kind of nice to be able to get the yarns and to make some new things and to be excited about that. So that's been fun, and I'm excited that I'm actually using the yarn, and I'm using some yarn from Stash as well. So it's all, yeah, that's making me feel, it's making me feel good to be able to use things from Stash and to kind of hopefully dwindle that down, but then also buying new yarn and being able to use that immediately as well, and kind of buying for the project. I don't think I ever want to get down to like no yarn, um, like, but I would like maybe to get down to 20, 30 skeins instead of like the 70 that I'm at. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So, watching and such things. We are still watching Star Wars with the kids. So we have graduated. We have watched first season and the second season of The Mandalorian, and we are currently almost done with Boba Fett. Or Boba Fett, and then we're gonna move on to season 3 of The Mandalorian. So I'm really excited because we haven't seen those episodes, so I'm trying not to be spoiled by things. We have new neighbors who have been interesting, but we have new neighbors, and they were watching something on their TV, and I was like trying to figure out what it was because I'm just nosy like that, and it ended, and I was like, oh, that was The Mandalorian. That was the end of an episode of The Mandalorian that I hadn't seen, and that's why I didn't know what was happening. So, yeah, at least we know they're Star Wars fans. But, so that's what we've been watching with the kids. And then me personally, I have been watching the second part of You, season 4, I think it is. I'm not really thrilled with the last episode I watched, so I'm hoping something maybe changes or something for the next episode. I don't know. Anyways, it was kind of strange. So we'll just move on from there. I've also been watching all the regular TV like Grey's Anatomy and Station 19, NCIS, Fire Country. I'm trying to think. Oak Island. We've been watching all those. Watching Grey's Anatomy and Station 19 has been fun because when they do the overhead shots of Seattle, I have a whole different perspective on it now since I've actually been there. I've ridden the ferry. I know like what direction they're coming from with the cameras and things, and that's been fun to kind of see. I'm like, oh, I know which direction that's from, and oh, that's totally different than I thought in my head it was, because now I know where it is. So anyways, that's been really fun to see that. And it kind of makes me a little more excited to watch it. And then Bryan and I have been watching, we've kind of gotten obsessed a little bit with a certain show. So I think last time we had finished 1923, or we're just about to finish it. So we did finish that, and it was excellent. I loved it. I'm really looking forward to season 2. Oh yeah, I did talk about that because of the, I talked about that. But we also finished The Last of Us, which was excellent. Bryan's a huge fan of the game. He's played it for many, many years and just loves the game. So being able to watch it and having Pedro Pascal on there, who is just brilliant, and he's so funny. I love all the TikToks about him because he's just so funny. But that was really good. It ended really well, and Bryan knows what's happening. He knows what's coming. So I know certain things, but not too much. But anyways, we're looking forward to season 2, whenever that may be. And then since we finished 1883 and 1923, we started watching Yellowstone. I had tried to watch Yellowstone after I finished 1883, about a little over a year ago. And I got like 2 episodes in, and then I just kind of drifted away. I still wanted to watch it, but it wasn't something that was like pulling me to watch. So Bryan and I started watching it. I wasn't sure if he was going to like it or not, but he really liked it. I really liked it. Of course, we skip any of the like nudity scenes and things like that because it's just not our jam and not something we want to watch. And I just disclaimer, there is a lot of language, and there's also quite a bit of violence in it. So wouldn't watch that or The Last of Us with kids around. So I'm not thrilled with watching it with all of the language, but I am enjoying watching it with Bryan and kind of seeing the storylines. And I'm a huge Kevin Costner fan. I have been since I was a wee little thing. I grew up watching Dances with Wolves, and he's always been in my life, I feel like. So I enjoy that, and him in a completely different role and different things. So we have just finished season 2. I think there are 5 seasons. So we watched 2 seasons in like 2 weeks or less, and really have really enjoyed it. Yeah, we had a new episode of Picard to watch, but instead we wanted to finish the season of Yellowstone, so we put that off. So that tells you something. So that's kind of what we have been consuming and doing over the last few weeks. And you'll notice I am back in my regular spot. Daylight savings time happened. Yes, it makes my day so much. I love it when it stays lighter longer. I am definitely not a morning person. I'm more of a night owl, so if I can get more light at night, I love that. And of course, it's gotten dark since I've been sitting here because I talk too much. But it's been really nice for it to have that light and to be, being not a vampire quite so much. So I waited till Bryan went to work so that I could film in here in the living room, which is just a lot easier and more comfortable to do. And that way I could banish the kids to my room and have it quiet in here. So that's been really nice. And I'm hoping, since it will be lighter longer, that I'll be able to continue filming in the regular spot. I also got, I mentioned, a new microphone. So I'm hoping that it works and sounds just as good as the other or better. And I also got a new tripod, which I'm really excited about because the one I got in December broke and wasn't that good. So I spent a little extra money and got something that feels really sturdy and really nice. So I'm hoping that works out. It's the first time I'm using it. So far, so good. But yeah, that's kind of me. So I hope you guys have been having a great March, and I will see you again in April. So, catch you later. Bye. And have to frog it. But yeah. Oh, excuse me. Viva Cami. I'm not sure if what mold. What is it?
On the shorts. It was under my bed, so now I'm taking everything out.
Yeah. Well, I probably could wash, but yeah, put them in that. So the first, yeah, we're still going.